Very much. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Rivers, my good friend Nelson. And I do mean he is a good friend. And I know that all of you who look in on our proceedings via C-SPAN or CNN, you know that on the House floor, on the floor of the House of Representatives, we often refer to each other as my good friend, and most times we don't mean it. But when I call Nelson my good friend, I really do mean it. We go back, he said when we both had black hair and both had a head of hair. Both things are now gone. However, we first met when he was a high schooler, and I was starting out as a public school teacher. And also, here with me tonight is another one of my former students. Where's Ralph? Ralph? Oh, there's Ralph back here. Ralph Dawson is a young man who I met. I feel like he was in my class. I want to tell you a little bit about where we are, and I would like, if I'm not embarrassing Ralph too much, to use him to state a case. When I finished college at South Carolina State in Orangeburg, South Carolina, I grew up in Sumter, South Carolina. On my way to accepting a job to teach school in Charleston, I stopped off in Moncks Corner and picked up a wife. And we went on down to Charleston back in 1961. Now, early in our marriage, a problem developed. I thought of myself as being a community activist, and a federal judge up in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a case called Swan v. Mecklenburg, had just ordered busing to integrate the schools of Charlotte, North Carolina. I thought that that case put too much burden on students. And I spoke out publicly against the case. I was standing on the street corner in Charleston. TV reporter came up to me with a camera and a mic, and I started waxing what I thought was eloquently until I got home that evening. When I got home, my wife was standing in the middle of the floor. Tears were streaming down her face. I thought something had happened to her or our one child at the time, Mignon. I rushed to her. I said, "What is wrong? Did something happen to Mignon?" She said, "No, there's nothing wrong with me. Nothing has happened to Mignon. I just saw you on television. There's something wrong with you. You sit down and let me explain something to you." Now, it's one thing to get an explanation, but a little gully, get-you girl, 92 pounds, from Moncks Corner, South Carolina, starts explaining, you better start listening. And she told me about growing up in the Whitesville section of Moncks Corner, walking 2.5 miles to school every morning, walking back home 2.5 miles every day, not being allowed to ride a school bus when the little white kids had school buses. She told me that she never learned to ride a bicycle. because they never had roads appropriate for a bicycle to run on. But she knew how to drive a pickup truck. And you see, she said this to me. They were not against busing then, and you better not be against busing now. I didn't have her experiences. I grew up 3 blocks from my elementary school. Liberty Street Elementary in Sumter. 6 blocks from my middle school, Lincoln. And I graduated from Madler Academy, where my dormitory was 25 steps from my academic hall. I did not have her experiences. And so I had to learn to make some adjustments. And I learned. And if she continues to conduct herself properly, come June 24th, we're going to celebrate 58 years. Now what I learned from that experience, and what I have learned over the years, that no matter who we may think we are, no matter what you may think you are, you will never be any more, nor can you be any less than what your experiences allow you to be. And so that's what I'm taking to the Congress with me. My experiences, my wife's experiences, and I have tried to let those experiences be guidances to me in trying to carry out my duties and responsibilities. And like all of you, I am a descendant of a gentleman who was not allowed to go to high school. My dad repeated the 7th grade 3 times. Not because he was dumb, but because there was no school available to him in Kershaw County after the 7th grade. And my dad self-taught until he reached the point that he could take a college entrance exam and pass it. And was allowed into Morris College. But then after he finished his 3rd year at Morris College, they told him that they would not allow him to go into his senior year until he produced his high school diploma, which he could not do. And when Morris College found out about that, it was 20 years after he died. And they awarded him his bachelor's degree 20 years later. So what I'm saying to you today, those are the kinds of experiences that allow me to sit down and study where we've come from and where we need to go. And I know that this year we're going to celebrate 400 years since African Americans first were brought to this country. 1619 to 2019 are 400 years. And for the first 244 years of our existence in this country, we were enslaved. And so it is fitting and proper for the United States Congress to begin deliberations on how we can make amends for those 244 years. And I want to walk you through a little bit of this. I told you I went to Charleston to teach school. I'm at heart So I'm going to take a few minutes to walk you through a little bit of history. From 1619 to 2019, 400 years. From 1619, if you read H.R. 40, H.R. 40 introduced into the Congress by Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas. But H.R. 40, or something akin thereto, has been around since 1989. John Conyers of Detroit, Michigan, introduced the legislation in 1989. So what does that mean? Even this history teacher can count that much. From 1989 to 2019, 30 years. This legislation has been around for 30 years. Now, what are reparations? Look it up in the dictionary, and it will tell you to make amends. How, that's what this legislation is, to study these years of our existence from 1619 to 1865. It's in the law. Why is it 1865 and not 1863? It's a simple reason. Juneteenth. Somebody said it. Juneteenth. The Emancipation Proclamation was effective in 1863, January 1. But for some strange reason, the word did not get down to Texas until June 19, 1865, 16 months later. So we didn't stop at 1863 with this legislation. We took it all the way to 1865 because we want the study to take place. Now here's the thing I want us all to keep in mind. This legislation is to create a commission to study the issue and to make the recommendation as to how to make amends. Hear me take, listen to it. Nobody has to study what happened to 244 years. What they've got to do is make recommendations as to how to make amends. Now here's the point. What has happened since 1865? Okay, the study will stop at 1865. Let me tell you what happened since 1865. In 1865, they developed the black codes. Then they followed that with the pig laws. Then they followed that with Jim Crow. For the next 110 years, we had black codes, pig laws, Jim Crow. My question tonight is, what should we do about those 110 years since 1865? The root word for reparations is repair. From a long time ago, I bought into Alexis Tocqueville's description of what the genius of America is. The genius of America, he wrote, is not that we are more enlightened than any other nation, but that we have always been able to repair our faults. Repair is a root word. There are some faults that have come about because of Jim Crow, black codes. That's why I came up with 10, 20, 30. That's why you see all the candidates now endorsing 10, 20, 30. That means this, that all the money appropriated in this law, 10% of it, must be spent in those communities where 20% or more of the population is stuck beneath the poverty level for the last 30 years. That is what it means to make repairs. I want to tell you a farmers came up to Washington. And they said to me they wanted to talk to me about the disaster that had destroyed their farms. As I talked to them about what we could do, one of them sitting right across from me was from Chester, South Carolina. He says, Congressman, I don't want to talk to you about my farm. There's something else on my mind today. I want to talk to you about the families in my community who load their children up into their automobiles and drive down to the parking lot of a local library that closes at 5 o'clock. And they sit out in the parking lot to do their homework. Something, he said, needs to be done to get these homes wired into the internet. There's something wrong with the families having to go down to McDonald's or to Burger King in order to get onto the internet. We need to spend at least 10% of all that money we put into telecommunications into these communities, so all communities, irrespective of the zip code, can have the internet. We need to make education accessible and affordable to everybody. We need to make health care accessible and affordable to everybody. We need to make housing accessible and affordable to everybody. And so while we are studying, while the commission is doing its work to find out how to make amends, I'm calling upon all my colleagues to take the budget we are working on right now, RAT, right now, and let's start allocating money in the budget to have community health centers in every community. Let's put money in this budget this year to put broadband into every zip code. Let's put money in this budget this year to have safe, secure housing throughout. And while we're studying how to make amends, let's appropriate money to repair some faults. That's what my interest is. That's what we're going to do. And I need your help. When they come, you tell them to vote for H.R. 40. But then tell them to appropriate money for health care, education, and housing. That way, we can make amends and repair some faults. Thank you, and Godspeed.